Today's cryptid is the Kelly Green Men of Kentucky. Put on the board, Anna. The Kelly Green Men. Hello there, and welcome back to Creepy American Cryptids. Today's episode takes place in the southwestern region of Kentucky, where small, bulbous-headed, large-eyed creatures have been encountered. During this episode, we will explore the area where the monster was sighted, a description of this creature, the documented encounters with this cryptid, and what the Kelly Green Men may actually be.
The setting.
The Kelly Green Men are reported to dwell in the southwest section of Kentucky, known as Christian County, in the small rural community of Kelly near the city of Hopkinsville. Sightings and encounters with the Kelly Green Men mostly occur in and around forests and farms.
The creature.
The Kelly Green Men are described during sightings and encounters as little green men, similar to the most commonly reported gray aliens in alien abduction cases. These creatures are reported to have a height of about 3.5 feet tall, an oversized head, and arms that reach nearly to the ground. They have large glowing eyes about 6 inches apart, with yellow pupils and a white rim. Another common feature of this creature is the lack of a nose and just a small slit for a mouth on its perfectly round, bald, oversized head. Its ears are bat-like and swept back on its head. The creature's body has a large muscular upper body and a thin, spindly lower body. This creature has large razor-sharp talons on its hands, measuring 2 to 3 inches long, with webbing between its fingers. The Kelly Green Men are also described as having shiny, silvery bodies, as if made of metal. They are also known to be bulletproof and perform a flip and run off into the darkness when they are shot at.
The encounters.
The term Kelly Green Men is actually a misnomer, as these cryptids are described as being silver or metallic in color rather than green. This occurred due to a second sighting later on in eastern Kentucky, in which a woman reported seeing a 6-foot-tall green alien. Over time, these two separate sightings got mixed together in people's minds, thereby creating the term Little Green Men. The main reported encounter with the Kelly Green Men occurred in 1955 and began when a man named Billy Ray Taylor was getting water from a well in the backyard of the Sutton's family farm. Billy told police that about 7 p.m. he saw a bright, silvery object in the sky, spewing a rainbow-colored exhaust. He goes on to explain that it moved silently toward the Sutton farm, flew over it, stopped in midair, and then dropped to the ground. Billy and his wife from Pennsylvania were visiting the Suttons, and the 11 members of the Sutton family laughed about his sighting and did not believe his story. However, an hour later, Billy's story became far too real for everyone involved. Billy and his friend Lucky Sutton heard the family dog barking loudly in the backyard, so they went to the back door of the farmhouse to investigate. The two men witnessed a strange glow and a small humanoid creature of 3.5 feet tall. This creature had a large round head, long arms ending in talons, and big glowing yellow eyes. They were terrified by what they were witnessing and grabbed a shotgun and a rifle. Billy and Lucky fired at the creature, who now had its hands in the air, similar to how someone does when held at gunpoint, as it walked toward the farmhouse. The men did not take the creature's arm position into account and instead fired several shots at the creature until it did a flip, hurriedly uprighted itself, and disappeared into the darkness. A second creature was spotted moments later at a side window by the men, who then shot at it through the window's screen. This creature was also unaffected by the bullets, did a flip, and disappeared into the night like the first creature. After this encounter, a third being attempted to grab Billy's hair with its claw-like hand as he stepped outside under an overhanging roof. The Suttons saw the clawed hand coming from the edge of the roof, screamed, and pulled Billy back from the hand. While this was happening, Lucky shot at the creature on the overhang, and then another creature in a nearby tree. The creature on the overhang floated to the ground and scurried into the woods. After all these creatures had retreated into the woods, the Suttons went back inside the farmhouse for a few hours, until they heard no more movements or scratches on the roof. Once everything was quiet, they raced for their cars at 11 p.m. and drove quickly to the nearest town of Hopkinsville to alert the police, as they had no telephone in the farmhouse. The police called in the state police and the military police from nearby Fort Campbell to assist his police force in investigating the Sutton farm. All that was found for evidence was the spent shells from the gunshots of Billy and Lucky. However, after the investigation ended and all the police left, the creatures returned sometime between 2:30 a.m. and daybreak. The matriarch of the Sutton family, Mrs. Langford, recalls seeing one of the creatures repeatedly appearing that night at her bedside window with its long, claw-like hand on the window screen.
Theories.
A primary theory for this cryptid is that it is a misidentified great horned owl, also known as a hoot owl. This theory is supported by the type of owl having long wings that could be mistaken for arms, having talons, yellow eyes, and a round head, which all match the description of the little men. As for the metallic shimmer, the theory believes that it was just moonlight bouncing off the owls. However, this author does not recall owls having the ability of being bulletproof. But I am also not an ornithologist by any means. I am more likely to flip the bird than to study birds. A secondary theory is that the Kelly Green Men are actually an alien species that visited the Sutton farm that evening. This theory is supported by the similarities to abduction stories involving aliens known as the Greys, who are also short in stature with a large head and big eyes.
Conclusions.
Many researchers believe that the Kelly Green Men are an early example of alien encounters in which the aliens' intentions are misunderstood. There are clues such as the Green Men not actually harming anyone. For example, the non-threatening pose as one creature walked toward the back door of the farmhouse is possible evidence of this theory. There is a sensible conclusion as the reported encounters with these creatures and similar creatures range from the 1940s to the present day, with the Kelly Green Men potentially belonging to a larger classification of cryptid known as the Gray Aliens. In this author's opinion, I believe that the wide area of encounters and sightings of this cryptid and similar cryptids could actually be due to them being part of an alien race who is studying Earth and perhaps attempting to make peaceful contact. We may never have the answers to all the questions and theories posed on this species of cryptids. However, one thing is for certain: something has happened on that farm in southwestern Kentucky on that hot summer night in August 1955. If you find yourself traveling in these parts of Kentucky, keep your eyes open, because if you see bulbous-headed, big-eyed, long-armed, shiny aliens lurking in the forest, you may be in the presence of the Kelly Green Men of Kentucky. If you come in contact with these cryptids, they may not actually mean any harm if you do not provoke them, judging by the details of the main encounter. However, you may still want to use caution in case they are not just stopping by to say hello and asking to use your phone to call home. See you next time, folks.